Hello, today's lesson is going to be on reading, responding to poetry, and creative writing. So let's get started. Today I'm going to read a poem by Canadian poet Charles Heavisage, and then we're going to look at some ways that we can think about the poem, understand it a little better, and then begin responding to it. So to start, I'm going to read the poem. Please follow along if you'd like, or just listen and percolate. Here we go. How great unto the living seem the dead! How sacred, solemn, how heroic grown, how vast and vague as the obscurely tread the shadowy confines of the dim unknown. For they have met the monster that we dread, have learned the secret not to mortal shown. E'en as gigantic shadows on the wall the spirit of the daunted child amaze, so honest thoughts of the departed fall, and with phantasma fill our gloomy gaze. Awe and deep wonder lend the living lines, and hope and ecstasy the borrowed beams, while fitful fancy the full form divines, and all is what imagination dreams. Alright, so the first thing I like to do in understanding and responding to a poem is going through and highlighting any words that I don't understand, and I'll look them up and I'll replace the word with a word that means the same thing and get a better feel and understanding for the poem. As an example, in this poem you might notice the word daunted, the spirit of the daunted child amaze. Daunted might be a word that you're unfamiliar with. If you are, it really just means that the person is frightened or intimidated. So putting that word in there, we can reread the line as this is the spirit of the intimidated child amaze. Alright. Next step I like to do in understanding a poem before I start responding to it is trying to get a little bit of a feel for the author. In this case, the author is Charles Heavisage. He's a Canadian, born 1818. He lived to about 1869, I believe. And he immigrated here from Great Britain. He started as a newspaper journalist and eventually became quite a successful poet. Okay, now with the poem all in our mind, we know a little bit about the author, we've looked up any background history on the poem that we need to, and we have gone through the vocabulary of the poem. The next step that we're going to be doing is responding, and for this poem we're going to respond in a creative writing piece, a short story actually. So to get started on the short story, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a little exercise called flash writing. For flash writing, what you're going to do is we're going to take 3 minutes and you're just going to write down everything that you're thinking and everything that you're feeling. The important part here is we don't stop writing for the 3 minutes, so whatever's in your mind, just put it down, pen to paper. We really just want to concentrate on writing and getting our words on paper. So take that 3 minutes and do that now. Okay, so I've already done my flash writing here a little bit early, so you don't have to just watch me write it. And now that I've gone through this, we want to pick through our flash writing piece and we want to find ideas that would work for a short story that we'd be interested in. So we want to do something that follows the theme of the poem. Hopefully with that poem in mind, you've done some flash writing that fits, and then we're going to do something that we can write a story around. So my flash writing that I came up with is zombies. What we're going to do is we're going to take our idea from the flash writing and we're going to use it and we're going to fill out a graphic organizer to help us get started on our short story. So, alright, now hopefully your graphic organizer should look a little bit like this. You'll have your general ideas that we've taken from your flash writing piece. We'll stick them in the middle, then we're going to have some circles around it. We're going to fill in those circles with characters, settings, mood, conflict, the beginning of the story, and the end of the story. Alright, so once you've got that made up and it looks a little bit something like mine, we can get started. So as you can see on my graphic organizer, I've taken 3 ideas from my flash writing. I've got an idea for a zombie story, a funeral, and a man's journey to the afterlife. From there, I've labeled them 1, 2, and 3, so I'll just keep my ideas organized. And then for characters, I think in the zombie story I would have Lara and Billy as 2 of my characters. In the funeral, as you can see, is labeled number 2. It'd have to be about 2 brothers. And number 3 would be death personified and the man. So what we're going to do, we're going to fill in each of these circles, 1 for settings, 1 for mood, 1 for the conflict, 1 for beginning, and 1 for end. And we're going to put detail into the stories as we can think of it. If you have trouble with putting detail for one, that's fine. We can just move on. Maybe that's not an idea where we have enough of a grasp on it to create a story, and that's alright. We'll just move on from it. Alright, once you've got your graphic organizer set up, next step is just to decide which idea you want to take and build a story around. And once you've done that, next step is just to start writing. So go to your beginning, take the idea that you came up with in your beginning circle and start writing. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for listening.